going to be in touch with me, and they were going to notify me, and the fact is that they have not done that. There has never been, from the very beginning of this process, one could perhaps have some respect for the process. If the city, the YWCA, or the Holocaust Museum had come and said, look, we really know a horrible thing was done to the community and that you were the person who was responsible for removing that, and we'd like to know if there is anything we can do to help you in the community deal with that mural, that would have been at least some signal of respect for the integrity of the community. But to hear, only after we protest what it is that we're about to do, that if I would like to, I could participate in the process. And I'm here to remind them that the process started 50 years ago, that they are late comers.
Yes.
And the reality is that we would give some consideration, possibly, to allowing somebody from that committee, perhaps, to sit on the committee that we have organized. But they can't allow me to participate in a process that they have initiated 50 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and it lacks any kind of integrity, and again, it's disrespectful. And when we have the same social forces who are responsible for the mural having been put there in the first place, now telling me, after I protest what they're doing, that if I would like to, I could participate in their process. I've already begun that participation. I am the one who made the initial criticism of the art. You know, this just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm told that, I read a newspaper article that rather had it read to me, that there was a meeting that happened, and I didn't show up. And they said it was, and they were quite disappointed. It was a public meeting, they said. And then it was slipped into the article, was the fact that the only people there was the so-called committee and the press.
Yeah.
This public meeting that they had was only attended by them.
Yeah.
And they said the press, but I got a hunch it wasn't the press. I had a hunch even that was some selective press. I don't know if the Weekly Challenger was there. You understand? And so this is the way they, you know, have treated this question all along. And then I read in the newspaper that they're going to have a meeting on July 12th, and they hope I show up for that. And that what they're going to do now is formally invite me to come to the meeting on July 12th. I think on yesterday, somebody associated with the Holocaust Museum, I think Herb Snitzer,
Yes.
I think it said that, made a call to this office and said, tell people to tell me that soon I will be receiving a written invitation to attend their meeting. And I wanted to see how much time Herb's spent in jail for taking that mural down. He's a contemporary. He could have done it. He's old enough to have been there.
Yeah.
Jody Wall was only 17 years old when he went to jail for taking that mural down. So it's a criminal enterprise, and we have no respect for it. Just like we have no respect for the black community, we have no respect for what it is that they're doing. And I want to just make this comment and then open it up. They talk about the events leading to the removal of the mural. It's really interesting that SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, that I led during that time, that took that mural down, had begun protests. And our initial protest was organized around the fact that the city of St. Petersburg was receiving $50 million in federal funds that they decided to use to beautify the downtown white St. Petersburg while the African community lived in the muck and mire of colonial oppression. And we felt that was a distorted understanding of what should be happening and that money should be coming to the community. The mural became symbolic of that kind of relationship. And we announced that we were going to begin demonstrating. And right away, there was a select group of black people from this community that began holding secret meetings with the press. They began holding secret meetings with the press and denouncing the fact that we were going to have the demonstrations. And these were very important and respectable Negroes, sort of like some of them who are sitting on this current committee, acting in very similar ways with their secret meetings with the press. That they belatedly say that I could have been there. The fact is that on December 25th, 4 days before that mural was torn down, SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, had a demonstration, that's Christmas, in front of the church of the head Negro preacher in this town that was responsible for participating in those meetings, secret meetings with the press. So, I mean, this is part of the contradiction that we experienced then. It's part of the contradiction my community experiences today. That the very important, respectable Negroes, the ones with the names and phone numbers of the mayors and really important people and the heads of the Holocaust Museum and the YWCA in their back pocket, the one that receives fundings and retirement funds and are connected with all of those resources, those are the ones who are participating in this process today, just as their predecessors, class associates did then. They were the ones who, after the mural was torn down, hated the fact that I did it that way. They hated the mural belatedly. They hated the mural. They just didn't like the way we took it down. And if we hadn't taken it down that way, it'd still be there. The YWCA never protested it at all. Yes. Nor did the city of St. Petersburg, obviously, that put it up. In fact, the mayor argued in letters to us that how our Negro minorities, have to learn not to be so thin-skinned in response to our protest about that. I think it's important to say this. That there are a lot of elements involved in this, and that's why the same forces that participated in one way or another, historically, in putting that mural up and oppressing our community are the forces now that intend to define what that mural was about and what should go up, and we say it won't happen. My last word on this is this, that they are not going to be successful in replacing that mural in the fashion that they're trying to do. I'm just saying that. I don't care if they have permission from the Holocaust Museum, from the YWCA, or from the city of St. Petersburg. Because all of the institutions I just mentioned, with the exception of the Holocaust Museum that didn't exist at that time, all of them just mentioned seem to be okay with the fact that that mural was up there in the beginning. And I guess the Holocaust Museum didn't exist at that time because it probably seemed inconceivable to put a Holocaust museum in the middle of the city of St. Petersburg, where the real Holocaust had been committed historically against black people and not against Jews. Yes. And so it didn't make sense then, 50 years ago. It doesn't make sense today. And so those committees, those groups, those institutions are not going to be able to determine our history. Nobody else is going to do that anymore. We are going to do that. Even if we have to rush to a hail of gunfire to stop that mural, this project that they're talking about, it is not going to happen. It was impermissible for me to take the mural down the way I did on the 29th. And if they put something else up there that goes outside of the process that we are initiating with this community, it will come down again. So that's my final statement on that question. So if there are any other questions or anybody else